Welcome, curious minds, to a journey into the fascinating intersection of science and the unexplained. For centuries, tales of ghosts and spectral encounters have captivated humanity, sparking both fear and wonder. But what if many of these profound, often unsettling experiences could be understood through the lens of scientific inquiry? Today, we're not here to debunk or to prove, but to explore how cutting-edge research and classic scientific milestones offer compelling insights into the very real perceptions that lead people to believe they've encountered something otherworldly. Get ready to have your understanding of reality and perhaps even the supernatural gently expounded. Our exploration begins not in a haunted house, but in an operating room with the pioneering work of Dr. Wilder Penfield. Imagine a patient, fully awake, undergoing brain surgery. This wasn't for dramatic effect, but a crucial part of Penfield's groundbreaking work in the mid-20th century, mapping the human brain to treat severe epilepsy. During these delicate procedures, Penfield would gently stimulate different areas of the brain with a tiny electrical probe, all while the patient described their sensations. What he discovered was truly astonishing. Experiential responses. When certain regions of the temporal lobe were stimulated, patients didn't just feel a tingle or a twitch. They would vividly relive entire complex memories, complete with sounds, sights, and emotions. One patient heard a specific song playing as if a record player were in the room. Another felt as though they were watching a scene from their childhood unfold right before their eyes, experiencing the smells and feelings of that moment with startling clarity. These weren't vague recollections. They were full-blown, immersive experiences, generated entirely from within their own minds, triggered by a tiny electrical current. Penfield's work profoundly demonstrated that our brains are not just passive receivers of external reality, but active constructors of it. The brain can generate incredibly rich, detailed, and utterly convincing perceptions, memories, sounds, even feelings of presence, without any external stimulus. This raises a powerful question. Could some of the vivid, sensory-rich experiences attributed to ghosts, such as seeing a figure, hearing a voice, or feeling a presence, actually be internally generated by our own complex neural machinery, perhaps triggered by unusual brain activity or even subtle environmental cues we're not consciously aware of? It doesn't diminish the reality of the asterisk experience, asterisk for the individual, but it offers a profound neurological explanation for its origin. Moving from the operating table to a more controversial laboratory, we encounter the work of Dr. Michael Persinger and his infamous God helmet. In the 1980s, Persinger, a neuroscientist, began exploring the idea that spiritual and mystical experiences might have a basis in specific brain activity, particularly within the temporal lobes. He designed a device often dubbed the God helmet, which used weak, complex electromagnetic fields to stimulate the temporal lobes of volunteers. The results were, to say the least, intriguing and often profound. Many participants reported experiencing a sensed presence in the room, a feeling that someone or something else was there, just out of sight. Others described out-of-body experiences, feelings of floating, or even profound spiritual or religious encounters. Persinger theorized that these electromagnetic fields could induce a state in the brain that mimics the conditions under which people naturally report spiritual or paranormal experiences. He suggested that our temporal lobes are highly sensitive to subtle electromagnetic fluctuations, and when stimulated in specific ways, they can create the subjective feeling of a non-physical entity or a profound connection to something larger than oneself. Now, it's important to note that Persinger's work has been met with both fascination and skepticism. Not all researchers have been able to consistently replicate his findings, and the exact mechanisms are still debated. However, the God helmet experiments regardless of their replicability, opened up a vital conversation. Could the very real, deeply personal feelings of a presence or a spiritual encounter be, at least in some cases, a product of our brain's interaction with its environment, specifically electromagnetic fields? It suggests that our brains are far more susceptible to subtle, unseen influencers than we might imagine, capable of generating profound subjective realities from what might seem like imperceptible external forces. This doesn't invalidate the personal meaning of such experiences, but rather offers a potential neuroscientific pathway to understanding their genesis. Finally, let's turn our attention to a truly groundbreaking discovery that emerged from an unexpected source: an engineer's personal encounter with a ghost. Meet Vic Tandy. In the late 1990s, Tandy was working late in a supposedly haunted laboratory. He experienced classic ghostly phenomena, a feeling of unease, cold spots, and even saw a gray, shadowy figure out of the corner of his eye, instead of immediately attributing it to the supernatural. Tandy, with his engineering mindset, began to look for a physical explanation. His investigation led him to a faulty exhaust fan in the lab. When he measured the frequency of the sound it produced, he found something remarkable. It was emitting a powerful infrared sound frequency of 18.98 hertz. Infrasound refers to sound waves with frequencies below the lower limit of human audibility, typically around 20 hertz. We can't consciously hear it, but our bodies can certainly feel its effects. Tandy's research and subsequent studies revealed that 18.98 hertz is particularly significant because it's very close to the resonant frequency of the human eyeball. This means that when exposed to this specific infrasound frequency, our eyeballs can actually vibrate. What happens when your eyeballs vibrate? You experience optical illusions, blurred vision, distortions, and crucially, the perception of shadowy figures or movements in your peripheral vision. It's like your eyes are being subtly shaken, creating visual artifacts that your brain then tries to interpret. But the effects of infrasound don't stop there. Exposure to these low frequencies has also been linked to feelings of anxiety, dread, sorrow, cold spots, and even pressure on the chest, all classic symptoms associated with ghost encounters. Imagine being in an environment where an unheard frequency is subtly vibrating your eyes, making you see things that aren't there, while simultaneously inducing feelings of unease and coldness. It's a perfect recipe for perceiving a haunting, all without a single supernatural entity in sight. Tandy's work provided a powerful, elegant, and entirely physical explanation for many of the most common ghostly phenomena, demonstrating how our environment can profoundly influence our perception without us even realizing it. So, what do these three distinct scientific journeys tell us about the nature of ghosts and the unexplained? They offer a compelling narrative that doesn't necessarily dismiss the experience of seeing a ghost or feeling a presence, but rather provides powerful evidence-based explanations for how our brains and bodies can generate such profound perceptions. Dr. Penfield showed us the brain's incredible capacity to create vivid realities from within. Michael Persinger's work, though debated, highlighted the brain's sensitivity to subtle electromagnetic fields, potentially triggering feelings of presence. And Vic Tandy's infrasound discovery gave us a concrete physical mechanism for how an unheard environmental factor can literally make us see ghosts and feel their chilling presence. These scientific insights don't aim to strip the world of its mystery, but rather to deepen our understanding of ourselves and our intricate relationship with the environment. They remind us that our perception of reality is a complex, often fragile construct, influenced by everything from our brain chemistry to the unseen frequencies around us. The human mind is an extraordinary interpreter, constantly striving to make sense of the world. And sometimes, in its effort to explain the unexplainable, it creates its own compelling narratives. Thank you for joining us on this fascinating exploration of ghost science. We hope this journey has offered you a new perspective on the enduring mysteries that surround us. If you found this discussion thought-provoking, please consider following for more deep dives into the science behind the extraordinary. Your curiosity fuels our exploration.